Evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch. Tuesday, May 20, 2025. So the word is getting out, folks, about space weather events. Let's just do a quick recap before I start talking. So far, we've had the Spain, Portugal, France area grid failures. Then we also had the subway station fires and substation fires and the substation power failures in the United Kingdom. Never mind all the fires and the heat. We had the Macedonia grid failure I reported on, I believe on the weekend, when the solar power, the solar panels were saturated with too much solar energy in the morning when the sun came out and that tripped out the system. Of course, we have the Puerto Rico failure during a geomagnetic storm. Now, the Puerto Rico grid system may be so compromised and weak already as it was, so it did not take much to take that grid down. Then we have the France ATC air traffic control radar system failure for 2 minutes. And now today, Spain is reporting a communication failure affecting the internet, landlines, and something else. Now, they are saying it's because of a network upgrade, which caused the failure. Maybe they were doing something to harden it from what happened with the previous grid failures. Well, getting it, it's one thing after another and another and another and another through two separate locations. And again, I'm suggesting the multipolar field. One weak area being from top of the British Isles down to the Strait of Gibraltar and then going into France. Now the word is getting out that the sun is and will adversely affect critical infrastructure here on Earth. Now the cover story narratives have to be implemented. It's just like another cover story. Every once in a while you see on the internet news about the Earth is tilting, and they are blaming the causes on man's extraction of groundwater. One in India, two in China, and another somewhere else. So they are telling, so on one hand, they're going to tell you the truth, what's happening, but they have to implement their cover story. They've been doing it for 42 years. So with the Earth tilt, they're telling us what the consequences are going to be, catastrophic earthquakes, and floods, and ocean inundations, all that. But they're also kind of lying, saying, well, it's going to be 100 years where that happens. But they're telling you, oh, it's tilting now. But it's because they're sucking all the water out of the aquifers. Bullshit. Now, the mainstream media are going to have their own so-called experts, of course, as they all do, tethered and leashed by the government. As for YouTubers, now, some are waking up, although maybe not as well studied and versed as I am, as I dedicate my life to it. They sense or believe that something is happening celestially. So one example, I like Travis of the Prepared Homestead. I like him because he's a down-to-earth and he's very spiritual. But he's picking up that something's happening, for an example. I like watching. I don't watch too many YouTubers, actually. I was watching another guy, MD, and when he started talking that he believes that all the destructive weather events throughout the United States are being done by man so they can bring in the global reset. So when the mind is cemented in conspiracy theories, it's not going to be open. You're not going to crack it open to take a look. What's this other guy talking about? No, he's not going to believe that. No one's going to believe that. Well, it's man-made. So I can bring in the reset. So on one hand, you have a gentleman like Travis, who understands that something else is happening. between the sun and the earth. Someone else, oh no, this is man-made. That's I'm convinced. Yes, I got to do a video. I'm convinced we're making all these destructive weather events. Nonsense. And unfortunately, there's going to be YouTubers cashing in on their webinars, saying such things that this is critical information that's going to affect all of humanity, but you got to pay me with your credit card to become part of my webinar to find this out, through all my so-called experts. Some of the so-called experts come across a news item, and they act like it's so new, but it's 42 years old. About planet, you know what? Experts. And as far as I am concerned, personally, anybody who partakes on these cash profit webinars to feed you fear porn bullshit, they are just as bad as the person who's hosting the webinars. That's just my personal opinion. So this so-called information is not classified on these webinars. This information was released 42 years ago. In December 1983 through the Washington Post, in January 1983 through the New York Times. I'll give you one link. I'm going to start giving you more and more links on these videos, rather than just, believing me. Like I said, it fills me with disgust that there are these false Christians out there trying to profit. It's no different from the government pushing false cover story narratives. Now, recently there's this report that the United States just ran this solar storm emergency drill last year at the same time as the G5 geomagnetic storm. And some people are making out like this is some sort of a psyop. No, folks, I'm sorry. This actually goes back to October 2016 when President Obama signed Executive Order 13744, and I'll include the link, to prepare the nation for these catastrophic events. It's not new news. It's old news. People have not been doing their homework. So in this report, it's highlighted the need for national space weather educational campaign to raise awareness for the general public on the risks. And, but as I say, to control the narrative and deflect away from the incoming binary system. SAL. For those of you who do not know who SAL is, the name of the sun in which we see every day is Sol, S-O-L. Almost all the star systems out there are either a binary or a trinary star system. I just named the binary SAL, so I don't pick up any censorship algorithms if I start saying planet. So SAL is just the name I came up with. The binary star coming up. The evil twin sister SAL. So as to control the narrative, to deflect away from the probability that SAL is on final approach. The aircraft is on final approach, the incoming. And this is what's causing the geomagnetic excursion. And now, as I believe, developing multiple magnetic poles and weak areas over our planet. They know what's coming, and no one's going to mention this. Like I said, it's what's causing the pole shift, affecting the sun and the other planets. Another thought just occurred to me. This Golden Dome missile defense system that Trump wants to implement in a hurry over North America, is there really a threat from his adversaries? Or is this for something else? Is this a missile defense system to protect that which would precede the approach of Sal? Celestial body. Asteroid impact events. As it were, like a great mountain ablazed, tossed into the sea. And other impact events stated in the Bible. Is this a defense system, not for incoming nuclear missiles, but for incoming asteroid impact events? Think about it. Finally, there's so much happening. For you folks down in the United States, please be aware of that during or following these low pressure storm systems, tornado tracks, please be prepared for seismic responses. So again, high pressure systems, nice weather, partially protects us from the incoming saturation of muons. It's like an umbrella. All right. Low pressure systems and low atmospheric temperatures causes that protective umbrella to collapse, allowing an increase of muon saturations. The muons are the secondary charged particles when a cosmic rays enters the atmosphere. And the reaction takes place where a cascading effect of showering secondary particles, muons, come in. The muons penetrate the crust. And if there's any magmatic body below the crust, causes what's called nucleation of silica-rich magma. Pressurizes it, exerting pressure, underneath the crust. This has been demonstrated and shown so many times. So I'm just going to show you a graph here. So this link is way too long for me to type out and include. So if you're curious, look up or type in Google, cloudy with a chance of muons, Queen Mary University of London. And they have a graph. So the blue line is our atmospheric pressure. The red line is the amount of muons. So when we have a drop in atmospheric pressure, we have a rise in muons, an increase in chance of earthquakes. Drop in barometric pressure, rise in muons. A rise in barometric pressure, good weather. A drop of muons. And this is how you can predict seismic responses following hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons, tornado tracks. So I would be paying attention to from southern United States all the way up into the northeastern section of the United States. There's a great difference in humidity, 56, 55% versus 91, 92%, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97% humidity. Let's check our pressure. So this is our dew point. Now, right now, the low pressure is not really all that low yet. It was yesterday. And there you have it, folks. So I had to try and stay grounded in reality and not go too deep into rabbit holes. I'll give you my theory, my observations, my suggestions for free. Something else is for free. You don't got to pay a webinar. It's all in here. Right. And I don't have to go like this. Wow, really? Is that true, Mike? Really? I didn't know that. I hate frauds. Can't stand them. What was I going to say in closing? Yeah, they've started with a cover story narrative years ago. It was years ago. They started saying by 2025, there's going to be a global cyber attack affecting the internet. Cover story for solar storms coming in, massive ones. The thing about the axial seamount, the submarine volcano off the coast of Oregon. It's not new, folks. It's old news. It's just that they've been saying for years now, by 2025. How can you know years in advance when a submarine volcano is going to erupt? How can you know that? As I said before, Mount Spur volcano in Alaska. How can they know in advance that the eruption is going to reach 55,000 feet? Deagle report came out in 2014. They scrubbed it in 2021 during the substantial population and economic loss for the Western world by 2025. 75% minimum loss, United States, 25 to 29% loss, Canada, by 2025. As you were.